It's Wes and Ace on the Brisco and Big Ace Show.
All right, people. Freestyles of your boy Chitful, a.k.a. Jungle Rock Jr. beat for the future. Let's go, jump. This ain't no half or no joking matter. Should be slaughter anybody.
Hey, what's up, my friend?
Welcome. I just want to say happy past Thanksgiving to everybody.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving. This is a few days after the holiday. We're getting together to do another show, and it's been a really crappy Thanksgiving holiday week here in where I'm located in Minnesota. Weather-wise, we're getting our first snowstorm of the year. And
oh man, yeah, it's like 80 right now. It's perfect. I think we're always kind of contemplating the weather because we're in exact contrast of different weathers.
I enjoy the comparisons every time just to see that drastic difference of what you're getting and what I'm getting here. I don't know. We're crazy that we live here in this. You know what I mean?
I don't know how you guys do it. To be honest with you, I could not. My body would just be killing me. I'd be aching, and my body would just be killing.
Well, it does, and but like I said, I was telling you before we went on the air tonight that the one thing though that I was saying about last week, I was like, I'm thankful for this, and that's that. When it's like 45 degrees here in Minnesota, like that's shorts and t-shirt weather for us. You know what I mean? So I would hate knowing I'm cold when it's 60 out.
Oh yeah. If it's like 70, I'm cold.
Like when I came in February, you were like, "Oh, it's kind of chilly," and I was like, "What?"
Yeah,
perfect. So I do enjoy that aspect of having to live through this winter chaos that we do up here. But how was Thanksgiving with you?
Oh, Thanksgiving was good. Hung out with the old pops, got to hear some old wrestling stories. And I actually went to like a wrestling little luncheon, and Chris Hero was there. Rocky Johnson, The Rock's dad, was there. Brian Blair was there.
Brian Blair.
Yeah, a bunch of people were there, so that was pretty cool.
Very nice. So what is the traditions in the Brisco family for the holidays for Thanksgiving?
Well, we kind of don't really celebrate it just because we're Native Americans, and that's kind of like been a weird discussion of the Pilgrims came and took our land and gave us diseases and all that other stuff, but we kind of just eat food and be thankful that we have each other.
Very cool. Are you a holiday guy though? Like, are you like a big Christmas guy now that Thanksgiving's done? Are you like, woo?
Man, I'm not a holiday guy at all, to be honest with you. It's kind of, I don't know. I'm more of a summertime guy.
I am too. Yeah. I enjoy a good, to me, a good holiday is when I'm outside, hanging out with my friends and we're enjoying the weather and being together. Like, that's cool. Christmas is cool and all, but it's just so much work to at least from the people that I'm around up here. It's just so much work that gets put into, just the decorating and the effort and the cooking and the making everything holiday. Like, it's crazy. Like, I don't have the energy for that. I do other things like shows like this. So
yeah, that's the thing that I kind of get. I mean, I love the holidays and I love like the holiday spirit and being with like family and friends, but I hate like the traffic and people going crazy in every store. So you don't want to shop, you don't want to go out because everyone's being a madman. And then it's like, who do you get gifts for? Who do you don't get gifts for? It's like such a hassle sometimes because it's just like, how about no one gets anybody anything,
Right.
I don't know. It's kind of, I don't know. It's weird.
It's crazy. Yeah. Holidays are.
Yeah, I know. I think as you get older, you enjoy them, but because they definitely come up faster than you realize.
This is true. And neither one of us for our age don't have children like a lot of the people in our age range do. So I think also that, if I had kids, I think I would be doing more of like, okay, let's get the Christmas tree or let's put the cookies and milk out. But like, I'm 37 and live with a cat. I'm not going to leave cookies out for a fake guy that's not buying me what I want. You know what I
Yeah, I'll eat that. Yeah,
mean?
that is pretty funny. But I would have like like I like to get like a Christmas tree, like especially a live one, just because of like the smell and I enjoy that, but I don't go like all out, like you see some people. But
Yeah.
I did at one time when I was younger, like I used to try to like see who had the brightest lights on the dock at my old house. So we would like just go to Walmart and buy as many lights as possible and like just wrap the whole dock obnoxiously where it was just glowing at night.
Oh, that's sick. Do you have any pictures of that or anything? That what I'd like to see.
I don't really think so. And I remember after year, we kept adding more and more, and we just leave them on, like not leave them on, but just leave them on the dock and just unplug them. After a while, it got so bad that you had to like cut all the wires because there were so many of them. It was a disaster, but it was funny.
See, that's what's interesting to me too, hearing that from someone who lives in a warmer weather state. Because, to me, it's you put lights on your houses. A lot of people do that everywhere. But when you hear someone be like, oh, yeah, we would decorate like our boat dock. Like,
Yeah, there and too, like we used to do there. Well, they still do every year. They do a boat parades on the lakes where all of the boats will put lights on and stuff and do a little parade around the lakes.
that's so crazy. I love hearing that kind of stuff, just the differences. Cause like, yeah, here it's like, all right, we're going to go outside for like 2 hours. Make sure you have about 10 layers on. We're going to have like hot cocoa on the backup and like we do it and we're crazy. But
Yeah, we don't have to. We just hop in the boat with some shorts on and a t-shirt and just go cruise.
oh man, that's nice. But I also do enjoy a white Christmas. So who knows? But should we talk about some wrestling stuff that's been going on? Because with Thanksgiving always comes Survivor Series.
Yeah, I didn't get to catch up on Survivor Series, but I did watch AEW and then SmackDown.
Nice. So let me get your take of where you feel watching AEW. You've got friends that are there and stuff. So I mean, what is your takeaway right now as far as how they're doing from how this all started to now? What does Wes Brisco think of AEW Dynamite?
I thought they're doing really well. I mean, there's just a couple things that maybe I would change, but other than that, I enjoyed the product. I enjoy watching it. It's very high pace and very entertaining, and I like how they give the guys freedom, and they get a lot longer matches. I'm just worried how long some of the talent's going to last doing all these crazy matches because I know from experience, after a while, there's only so many dives, so many crazy spills you can take until your knee gives out, your back gives out, your shoulder gives out, your neck gets hurt. It's bound to happen. I mean, it's gambling, you're eventually going to get hurt. It's like football or any other sport. Eventually it's going to catch up to you. And I just wonder if they have a big enough roster to be able to sustain like their movement because they're doing really well, but are they going to be able to sustain it when, let's say, two of their stars get hurt and get pulled out? Because as you see it with WWE, it happens all the time.
Right. Yeah, and it'll be interesting. I think there's still some people signed that we haven't seen yet. I think they're waiting to debut that, but I know there's been talk from some of the hires up of they are looking forward to seeing in the next couple of years what they'll have when they can really start to build out their roster.
I know they have Jimmy Havoc, right?
They do, yeah. And
has he been on TV yet or no?
Yes and no. He was on a couple of the first shows. He's been on like one, maybe two Dynamites. He's been on like one AEW After Dark. He was, I think, on I haven't caught up with this last week's episode.
I watched the whole thing. It was good.
But the week before he made an appearance, used the staple gun, and they're running with the storyline of he got fined for using the staple gun. Yeah. But he had a little of a backstage moment during Full Gear weekend in wherever they were for that, where him and Excalibur, I think his name is, on commentary. guy in the mask.
Yeah.
They had a little bit of a issue at Tony Schiavone's birthday party that weekend.
What?
Got into a little bit of a shoving match. It sounded like Havoc was pretty tuned up from the accounts that everybody's been saying. But so yeah, I don't know. It's weird. You haven't seen him out there as much as you thought you would see Jimmy Havoc. A couple other people, Joey Janela, he's starting to voice his opinion as far as how he feels that he's not being out there as much.
What's he saying?
He's just frustrated over the booking. Claimed he wasn't going to be at one of the shows or something. I don't know. I think it was last week's show or this next week's show. I don't remember when he sent that tweet out. And the other thing too, though, is such a new company. You don't know when if they're working it or if that's legit. But yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. I think what they got going for them really good, and we talked about this too, is Chris Jericho, and not necessarily what he's bringing to them inside the ring as far as match wise, but just the character he's running with right now, which is so close to what he's like. At least when I was on the cruise last week and saw him all over, what he's doing in the boat is kind of like him, except he's a little bit nicer when you're in person with him than the heel gimmick he's doing. But I mean, it's just pure entertainment. The whole champion and the bubbly, and now he's got the inner circle, and how
he brought his dad on TV and did the whole birthday party or celebration for the champ.
Virgil was there.
Virgil was there. He bumped his ass off.
Right. And then I think it's hilarious that he calls Sammy Guevara a Spanish god, and that's a thing now because of it.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, and then he's Jake Hagar, your buddy, Swagger, if anybody is actually unfamiliar with that, part of the inner circle as well. And that's fun to watch because I'm excited to see him actually get in there in the ring and have a match.
Yeah, I think he won't be wrestling until after he has an MMA fight coming up soon, and I believe he's not scared. They won't let him wrestle until after the MMA fight.
So he still has one more fight to go.
I think so. I'm more positive.
That's right. Yeah, we'll still have to try to get him on here as well.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I like how he doesn't talk either. I like that he's just the quiet guy, big dude in the ring.
Yeah, he brought out a goat, like an actual live goat, and the goat was not having it. The goat was like so like not. It's always like it always ceased to amaze me how many times TV shows, wrestling shows, sports shows always try to bring a live animal into the mix. And they don't like crowds. They don't like people. They like freak out and you're trying to hold this animal, and all it wants to do is just go crazy, and it's chaos.
Right. They've had some bad luck with animals too, because one of the big shows a few months back, I think it was Double or Nothing, when Rhodes brought out his dog, his husky, out, and they shot the pyro off right when the dog came out and freaked the crap out of him. Like, bad and visible on TV. Like, people were upset that the dog had to go through that. So it's just funny. And then they brought a horse off for Adam Hangman. I like that AEW is bringing animals back, because whatever they're doing with Eric,
animals, well, that's what Big Ace wants. Bring the animals back. He wants to hashtag that. Bring the animals back.
Yes, like like Jake the Snake, man. I mean, that was such a great thing.
Yeah, I like when the animals just take a shit right on the ring.
Yes, I'm all for it if it's going to make me laugh. I don't know what they're doing. WWE's running something right now with Eric Rowan where he's got some sort of pet, but we haven't seen what it is yet. So it's getting old already, though. It's been like 4 weeks of teasing, and he brings it out the cage, and it's covered in like a burlap sack.
The only thing I didn't like about AEW is that there is one segment where they're trying to kind of copy The Fiend.
Okay.
They showed at the very end of AEW. It was like kind of like, come follow us, join us.
Oh,
like if you consider yourself, like lost, we will help you. And then they all there's a bunch of people sitting there, and then they flip on the lights, and they all have masks on.
Yeah, the Dark Order, Evil Uno, and I don't remember the other guy's name.
Yeah, I'm kind of like,
They used to be the Super Smash Bros, I think, years ago on the indie
Oh,
scene.
no way. I know. I remember. I think I've wrestled them.
Yeah, that's who they were. That's who they are. So yeah, a lot of people were really confused by their whole gimmick they got running now. But now that these like vignettes are coming out with the join us, and then one of their last matches they tried to have Marco Stunt join them.
Yeah.
So now it's making sense. Like, oh, the Dark Order is like a cult. That's their whole thing. Where up until a couple weeks ago, it was just like, who are these guys, and why do they just keep coming out here, shutting the lights off, and then they got the minion guys? Like, what the hell's going on? So
yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, AEW's been doing really good as far as like they're keeping up with NXT. The ratings have been keeping above, except for the last week. I think they lost to NXT, but that's also when they had the whole open door policy to push the Survivor Series storyline. So you had main roster showing up at NXT.
Yeah, I did hear Keith Lee. Lee did really well. I heard he made a good impact.
Yeah, I mean, the NXTers for Survivor Series weekend, man, had to work their butts off because Adam Cole, Keith Lee, Tommaso Ciampa, and a few of them, they were all in War Games the night before, and then most of them were still in a match on Survivor Series as well. And that War Games match was crazy. NXT has yet to do a year with a War Games match that let down. Even the first women's war game match they did this year was very impressive.
That's pretty cool, and that's a hard thing to pull off.
Yeah,
people, so much going on.
It really was. And with the men's one, the big surprise was Kevin Owens came out as their fourth member, like a throwback to him coming back to NXT. So that made it even better. But the spot they did to end that, top of the cage, because War Games, the two rings in the cage.
Yeah.
In the corner, top of the cage, Tommaso has Adam Cole on his back, upside down, goes off it for kind of like a net breaker onto like two tables. There's no way watching it that I don't know how neither one of them like walked out that night. It was a really risky, like, it was hard to watch because you just knew like they had to be right on, otherwise someone was really going to be hurt. And then on top of that, they both came out and did Survivor Series and NXT Championship match, so they really had to work a lot. But Keith Lee really impressed from what the sounds was. I think he'll be pulled up soon rather than later.
Yeah, depending on if they just stick with this brand and maybe keep the NXT guys at NXT and then do a feud between the brands, like how they sometimes do.
Well, and I think that's, Survivor Series will be that now. But let me ask you this. They say that the contract with Full Sail is going through 2020 as far as having to do their weekly tapings there. Do you see when that contract's done? Do you think, just you've been around it, do you see NXT actually going on the road for a live weekly show eventually? Like live television?
I know they won't leave Full Sail because Full Sail does a lot for them for free because it's students and they get like student interns and stuff like that. So like their cost is very low. I see them going on the road, but I see them start doing what they've been doing, just spot shows on the road.
Okay.
I don't know if they'll do TV. How long is their segment? An hour or 2 hours?
2 hours now.
2 hours now? You never know. I just know there's a lot to go into it, especially production wise and money wise, and the production trucks and all that other stuff. When right now they're kind of getting it for free, so it's a hard one to say. I can't really tell you.
Yeah. So one more full year though at Full Sail for sure for tapings. I would like to see them maybe go live from Full Sail for a few months before they were to go live on the road doing their TV show.
The only bad thing about going live at a place that you always wrestle, it's sometimes stale.
Mm-hmm.
I got the feeling like at Impact, like you get, it's just the same crowd over and over and over and over and over again.
Okay. So you were at Universal, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, see, we did the first year or the first 6 months I was at Universal, and then we went on the road doing TV on the road. So I got that time at Universal, and then I also got to that time of doing TV on the road because we did TV on the road for a full year straight, I believe. And that was pretty fun. It was way better experience. You just performing in front of a new crowd every week is way better than performing in front of the same crowd. I mean, it gets you, you know, that you have to be on it when you're wrestling the same crowd every night. But when you're wrestling a new crowd, you can do new moves. You can just explore a little bit more because the crowd's so happy to see you compared to if they see you every single week. You got to make sure every single week you do something different, something new to stand out and be different from everyone else.
And that is one thing with NXT that you see, like there's fans. I don't remember her name, but the girl who dressed as Bailey forever, who's now I think trying to train wrestling now as well, and is still at every show, and I think does like a YouTube show for maybe WWE about NXT. I don't know, but like
all a work.
What's that?
That's a work all over.
But then like there's like few people that when you watch the NXT tapings, it's like, oh man, these people do not miss a taping. They're there every time, and it's worked for them so far, but that's interesting to hear. I mean, would you have to deal with like regulars, like when you were at Universal, where there are a few people you knew were probably going to be in the crowd that like every time you were there every week, there was just like, oh, why does this freaking guy keep coming back?
Yeah, with me, they were pretty cool with me. I never really got heckled that much. I know some of the guys did, and that kind of bothered some of the guys, but it was good for me. I didn't, plus I'm a Florida boy, so it's kind of hard to like just your
homeboy. Yeah,
homeboy. Like, come on, like that's my hood. Like,
right. And it's interesting what you say about the set too, because I know that was what you didn't like about NWA's relaunch on Power, is the set, this studio feeling set. A lot of people love it because it's that homage to what they did back in the day when it was still territory wrestling. But for you, like you said, it wasn't changing.
Yeah, I think you need to evolve and change. I feel like when I was going to like, I'll give you a good scenario. At one time, I was on TV for this company called Paragon. I believe we were on Destination America, I believe. We were on a decent channel. And
I got it. I know that because I was DVRing them.
Yeah, and we got to do some pretty cool vignettes, and we got to really just do really cool stuff. Even though our boss was kind of a dick, we had fun showing up to work because we were able to do some cool vignettes. Me and Jesse Swanson were tag team partners, and we were the champs, and we would just do funny skits of like trying to find the pool and like cutting in front of people's interviews and just doing like funny and cool stuff where it made it fun to go to work. So then somehow the guy, whatever, gets an argument with Pop TV. He gets an argument with them. They end up dropping us because the guy's bad businessman, ends up folding the company. So the next thing you know, the company's folded, whatever. I do another show out in Vegas called Ring Warriors. And we were on, I believe it was WGN, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was WGN. We were on that. And I remember the vignettes were just like the NWA ones. And you would stand there and it would be a green screen and you would just cut a promo and everyone's was the same. And would drive me insane. Like I would show up to work and it'd be the first time where I'm like, I love cutting promos and doing vignettes. That's like one of my favorite things in the world. And then to show up there and it's like the same one every single week, the same exact promo, the same exact style. It was driving me insane where it's like they almost put you in a bubble where you couldn't be creative because they gave you no outlook to be creative. You're just stuck behind this green screen. And then when you watched it on TV, you were just like, man, it looks so hokey. It just did not look good. And it was crazy how, even though Ring Warriors, I love the people I wrestled with and I love the boss, I hated the production. I thought the production was garbage. I enjoyed going and actually wrestling, but doing promos and then watching it, I was just like, ah. But then Paragon, I hated the person I worked for, but we had so much fun doing the vignettes that it made me like every week I was like thinking of new stuff for me and Jesse to do, and it made wrestling really, really fun. And that's when you really get to see the guys be creative, and that's what AEW is doing. It's able for them to do vignettes, and you get more interested. It's like same with the Fiend. No one would get the Fiend if he stood beside a green screen cutting a promo. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, you mentioned you watched some of SmackDown. Did you catch the whole episode, or did you miss some of it at all?
I missed probably about the first half and caught the ending. I watched the Shinsuke Nakamura and I believe it was Cesaro versus the New Day.
Okay.
That was decent. There was a couple botched spots in it, but the overall match was really good. I mean, Cesaro's so good.
Oh man.
The finish was a little weird for me. I didn't think, I don't know, something just didn't look right for me on the finish. But what really, really stood my mind was the Fiend. At the end of the night, Daniel Bryan's cutting a promo. And of course, Daniel Bryan's been kind of a heel, but now he's full on babyface. He like cuts this good babyface promo. And then all of a sudden he's like, do you guys want to see me face the Fiend again? And then they start doing the yes chant. And then he starts doing the yes chant. And then all of a sudden the Fiend comes out of the ring and like grabs him. And then like there's like a brawl. And then the Fiend pulls him underneath the ring. It's so sick. And then starts ripping out his hair. Like a lot. Like it shows him pulling out hair and just dumping, like he's just ripping Daniel Bryan's hair out and just dumping it onto the apron, where it's just like you can only see his top half like out of the apron, and he's just ripping the hair out and just, it's gonna be crazy to see if like Daniel Bryan comes back with like a shaved head or
back to the
hair, because listen to this. I mean, the Fiend, like, it went to a point where, okay, I was like, when he first pulled out hair, I was like, okay, like they're not going to do nothing more with it. But then when he kept pulling out hair, he did it like 4 times. And I was like, well, Daniel Bryan's going to have to come to TV looking a little messed up haircut, because they really emphasized of like him throwing the hair and ripping the hair out. So you can't, I know Vince is going to have him cut his hair or do something to like, it was really cool. It got my attention, and I was like, man, like, gave me goosebumps. It made me want to watch next week's Friday SmackDown.
Nice.
I'm like,
that's
okay,
the goal.
I might have to pre-record it or something. Like,
oh, and I think, isn't it next week he's debuting a new character?
I believe it's like Baby Abigail or something.
Well, they keep teasing that it's a woman, but they're also teasing that I'm not sure if you're familiar with Liv Morgan.
Yeah.
The big rumor is that she's going to eventually become part of this with him.
I could see that, just because she looks like that Haley Quinn girl, and that's probably where they would go with it. It's kind of like one of those characters.
Yeah,
I see it.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, the unfortunate thing is they got to change a few things with this Fiend character, though, because I cannot watch another full-on Bray Wyatt match with nothing on but red lights. I can't. It is annoying.
That's how they see. I haven't even seen any of the matches.
Every time it is red lighting, so it's all red
the whole time he wrestles.
Yep. So Survivor Series, him versus Daniel Bryan, that match took place in completely red lighting.
So you can barely see it.
Red lights.
So you can barely see it.
Yeah, you just see them. They're red. Everything's red, and it's just annoying as shit.
Yeah, that doesn't sound fun to watch.
So, They got to change that. I can't. It's like I want to watch a match. I don't get why every time that. And the one thing I'd like to see a little more happen though is I want to see actually Bray come out as Bray, and maybe like take a loss or two, and then come back as the Fiend though, and be like, oh, because he does a good job playing two different personalities between those promos and the vignettes, and then when he's in the ring as the Fiend. But I think it would add a little bit more to it. You know?
I think too that would probably turn him babyface. Like he goes out there wearing the sweater, being the nice guy. Hey guys, no one, come on. And then they beat him up. And then finally the Fiend shows up.
Yep.
It'd be instant baby face.
I like it. I like
instant baby face.
Man, I like that. Yeah, that would be cool. It'll be interesting to see though who they add with him if Liv Morgan does finally come back and is part of the Playhouse or whatever that is at the Fun House. So another thing happened, and I wanted to hear your opinion on this. Did you hear about James Cornette and NWA and what happened recently?
Jim Cornette?
Mm-hmm.
No. I mean, I might have. You might need to just refresh my memory.
Sure. So on, they already have a new episode out, but the episode before the last one of NWA Power on YouTube.
It's not on TV?
Nope, it's on YouTube. Yeah. They're getting over 500,000 views an episode. I mean, they're doing pretty good for just doing a half-hour YouTube show or an hour-long YouTube show. They're in one of the matches, and I cannot remember. For some reason, I want to say Rich Swann. I don't know if that's right. I don't even know if he's in the NWA.
No, he's in
Impact. Okay, it's either way. Someone was wrestling. He made a comment. Again, this is his comment, not mine or anything.
I believe I know what you're talking about. You don't have to say it. It was a racist slur comment.
Yeah, something about Ethiopians and chicken and riding a motorcycle.
Fried chicken running through. Yeah. I think that's uncalled for. I love Jim Cornette to death. I respect him, but there's just some things. I mean, I know people need to have a lot thicker skin because I know he's not racist, but you don't say something like that. I mean, that's just, to me, it's stupidity. I get the joke, but in this day and age, it's kind of played out. It's not, for me, I mean, that's just my opinion, and I don't see color, so I just believe that that's just, you don't need to, for me, I just think that was just stupid.
I agree. I heard it and I didn't, I again thought that was just uncalled for. But it did end up costing him his job. They pulled the episode down, re-edited it, took that out. He is now nowhere. There's not on the new episode, no traces found that Jim Cornette ever was there.
Yeah, so about that, I'm glad if they didn't fire him, there would be such a big outlash that it would be ridiculous. I mean, they had to fire him. I mean, that was just, and to be honest with you, like, I don't know, like, it's hard for me to, like, for him to, like, take serious when he shits on everybody unless he's working for the company. And then if he's working for the company, he kind of doesn't shit on the bad performances that the company does or the bad production. He praises it. But then when he's gone, he's like, well, this motherfucker did this and they didn't do that. And they should have did this and they should have listened to me there. But then you're like, well, why didn't you change it while you were there? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So for me,
and I'm glad you said that, because when he got hired on for commentary, that was the first thing in my mouth is I'm like, you guys just hired a professional talker. Like, all the guy does is talk smack. Like, you
doesn't talk nothing good. It's always usually something negative, unless it's one of his buddies.
Yeah, he is like run down some of the people on the independent scene that just wasn't deserved. So it's like I was very like interested when they hired him. Like, they have no like hesitations at all, because in my mind I'm like, he's gonna say something eventually that it's gonna piss somebody off, and it took 3 episodes.
And I heard JR's been getting a lot of hounding.
So here's the deal, and I don't know what your thoughts were listening. and while you were watching AEW and listening to the commentary team, like you said, a lot of big spots. It's a lot of big pops. It's oohs and ahs is what they're going after. And that's why you're seeing, like you said, take it down a notch, maybe sometimes actually maybe get a little more technical side into it, do some mat work, something. Doesn't have to be just crazy leaps and jumps and flips and all this stuff. And like JR kind of voices that throughout the show sometimes. And I think that's where this backlash is kind of coming in. Plus, he's old school. So he will say, like, it's a 10 count ref, like, or it's a 5 count ref. Why are you letting him in there longer? Or, why are you not counting him out right now? He's been in there for, like he'll point out when they're not following the rules, which AEW, for whatever reason, the referees have had some questionable calls already. There's been a couple matches where, like, pretty sure ref's hand hit 3, but then he comes up saying 2, and like the crowd's like, no,
I've seen it.
Your hand hit.
Yeah, I've seen that happen.
So and I get it. It's a new company, only a couple months in. Practice makes perfect. They're going to have to do a lot of this stuff, and they got a lot of really good stuff going for them too. But it's, I think JR calling out those things though is kind of upset this younger crowd coming in, and the crowd that's into, well, look, we like the flippity flops. What are you talking about? But I get it too. That's where I keep thinking though, I'm like, I feel like him and Shivani are not enjoying being together though.
I think they need one more person.
Well, they have, what's his name? The guy Excalibur in the mask, but I mean, I think they could probably get someone better.
Yeah, I don't. For me, they don't have anybody that has full charisma and fire.
Well, and I think the other thing is JR's taking more of a. He's not doing the play-by-play. He's taking more of a color position here, where he's known for being an epic play-by-play guy. And I
think he's having trouble doing the play-by-play because of all the spots.
This is true, yeah. So I don't know. It's JR though. I just don't see him going anywhere. Like he says, he's enjoying it. Then, another thing too is they'll work it out. Hopefully, I kind of feel like Shivani is going to get involved.
Yeah. What did you think of? You didn't watch it. Diamond Dallas Page get beat up
By the Inner Circle.
Yeah, and then he did a cutter and they call it the Ace Cutter and not the RKO. And then JR goes, it was kind of funny because JR goes, they start calling it the Ace Cutter, and then what's his name? The guy in the mask was like, back in my day they did.
That's hilarious. I like that Cody's bringing out these people who are like well known to be a part of his life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's kind of fun to see. My favorite though is when DDP came out a few weeks ago and they went through the crowd, and this is before the MJF heel turn on Cody a couple weeks ago. He was still Cody's best friend, and he's behind Diamond Dallas Page, and they're walking by the camera around the ring to go up through the crowd to the suite. And Diamond Dallas Page walks by the camera and does his thing, like bang, as he walks by, and MJF's behind him, and he's just like, he just does one of those and keeps one, like those subtle things. Like it was just like, I loved it.
He's a very heel. Yeah, I like him a lot
because it's just like, dude, he's gonna turn. I think they pulled the trigger too quick. I think they had more time to let that marinate before he actually did the turn. But
yeah, I enjoy his work. I enjoy his promos. He's very good, very talented.
Have you ever had to work a show with MJF ever?
No.
I've
seen him on shows, but I never worked him. Never been in the ring with him.
Well, so another thing I wanted to talk about, because and this is just going to be more for fun for us because I've been talking about it on my other podcasts. So we have to talk about it because I'm pushing you pretty hard on this. But I keep talking about how NWA is afraid to give Brisco a chance. But also now it's being reported that there's a new show coming on where they're bringing people from the independent scene on, and Billy Corgan's going to give them a chance to become a member of the NWA roster. And my thing is, I don't get why they're doing this. Like, why don't they just bring you in and give you your rightful shot at Nick Aldis?
I don't know. That's something that the social media world needs to get on. That's something that
Everybody watching and listening needs to start getting down NWA and ask Billy Corgan, or William Corgan, sorry. Let me use his real name that he credited on the show. William Corgan. Oh, why Brisco don't get that shot he deserves?
Yeah, I mean, I come in there represent,
I'm just saying, just because he don't like your set doesn't mean he ain't gonna come kick ass.
Exactly. I'll make that set beautiful, baby.
I literally have been talking about like any other of my shows when we talk any wrestling, and on one of them, my other co-host is a big NWA guy. He's loving the new show. And every time he's like, I'd love to see Wes on there. And every time I say, they're scared. Nick Aldis is scared. He don't want none of Wes Brisco.
No, because he knows that I'll get over like instant. And that ain't good.
In a perfect world, we're going to make that happen. And you're going to get a shot at that title because it just has to.
Yeah, I mean, I really want to. I mean, that would be nice, but, it's not up to me. So.
It's not. That's why I said we, the fans, will make that happen somehow. But yeah, man. And then I don't know. You said you didn't see any of the Survivor Series, and I don't really want to talk about that actual show because, I watched it and it is what it is. It's a big show of the brands versus brands. But what I wanted to ask you is, growing up, were you a fan of the Survivor Series style match, traditional? Because I grew up being that traditional 4-on-4, 5-on-5. The whole pay-per-view were actual Survivor Series matches.
I like that.
You know what I mean? Even when the captain versus the captain had their storyline, that's how it played in. And I really miss that feel. Like it was.
When did they switch that?
It was when SmackDown became a thing. Because that's as soon as when they started doing brand supremacy.
Yeah, because I remember going to a Survivor Series, and I believe it was where Bam Bam Bigelow and Lawrence Taylor.
That was WrestleMania.
That was WrestleMania?
That was WrestleMania.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I remember watching.
That was Royal Rumble or Survivor Series?
No.
Nope. You're going to have to Google that one. Because I have the chair that he broke over Bam Bam Bigelow's head.
I don't remember that, but I do know they had a WrestleMania match. Salt and Pepper sang him to the ring. That was the same show that Triple H, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, wrestled the comeback Ultimate Warrior, who came back for literally like 2 months and then disappeared again.
And they need to squash Triple H in like 2 seconds.
Squash the shit out of him. And that is actually how they started the storyline, because Sable was Triple H's valet, who then after he loses, they go backstage and he's yelling at her and pushing her, and that's when she bumps into Mark Marrow and then becomes his valet, and then it all just snowballs after that.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, like so you said you've been to a lot of pay-per-views. So how many have you gone to any of those that really stand out? You were backstage at maybe growing up, that you were just like, man, I can't believe I was at that show.
Taker and Shawn Michaels, and then WrestleMania 25, of course, when my dad and my uncle got into the WWE Hall of Fame, but also Shawn Michaels and Ric Flair.
Oh yeah,
just because it was just such good storytelling, and then at the end, Shawn Michaels is sorry and super kicks him and then gets the it's just really good storytelling. And then of course watching The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels first match was just incredible. And when I got to watch that match, I was sitting next to Ron Simmons, Sergeant Slaughter, Norman Smiley, Dr. Tom Pritchard, my dad, and probably The Godfather, guaranteed. And we all sat there and watched the match, and getting to see them actually mark out over the match was pretty cool, because usually you don't see the old timers fully follow the match, or they'll be like, they should have did this. during that match, they just watched it, and they at the end everybody clapped just because it was just a phenomenal match. Just some of those, Brock Lesnar and Kurt Angle. That was one that really stuck out. Of course, me versus Kurt Angle on Lockdown in Corpus Christi, Texas. That's a
What year was that?
whew, I don't know, 2000, and I have no clue.
Did you do you did Bound for Glory too, right?
Yeah, I did both of them. I was at the first one before I was even signed. They just brought me in just to like have me sit there and watch Kurt's match and like do a little quick TV time, and then they brought me in, and then I did the last Bound for Glory that they did when I was there. Yeah,
Nice. That's
I think I had a triple. No, that was Slammiversary when I had a triple threat against Joe, Magnus, and Jeff Hardy.
wow. And those are, you look at it, that's Joe's on WWE. Who was it? Jeff Hardy, technically WWE, but
jail, probation.
yeah, right now he's doing some other things. And then Magnus, who again is that brings us back to why Magnus is ducking. Sorry, Nick Aldis is ducking, because that is also Magnus.
Yep.
And yeah, I get it. He doesn't want to lose his title because he knows it will happen if he faces Wes Brisco in the ring for that end.
Yeah, because we've actually wrestled a couple times, and we've had a couple singles matches together too.
And I'm sure you kicked ass every time.
Always.
Yeah, man. That's that. See, and like, because you and I are friends, so when we're like talking half of the time, but actually most of the time, we don't talk about wrestling. We don't talk about like your past runs and stuff like that. We just don't.
No.
We're bros, so we just talk about other shit that you and I talk about that no one else needs to hear. But so when I ask you stuff on the show, and that's partially why too, it's like we save everything like that for you guys on the show. So that's why it's always interesting to me when you start talking about past matches, and it's just like, I don't know if some people really remember like how big of a role you played in TNA towards the end, especially because of the fact of you were a part of one of the things that really did make TNA Impact interesting and fun to watch again before it just ended.
I mean, and that's the crazy thing is when I was at TNA, I believe it was one of their last heights. It was one of their last. I mean, we were doing really well. Like our ratings were doing good. Our merch was doing really well. Everybody was having good matches. Our roster was just stacked. I mean, our roster was stacked full of guys that could work, that were just really good at what they did. And it's a shame that it all fell apart, but at one time we had a good movement together, and everybody looked after each other. Everybody was helping each other, and we really wanted to put on a good product. And that's what you could tell from when we were there, and everybody enjoyed what they were doing. I mean, RVD was there, Samoa Joe, Jeff Hardy, Sting, Hogan was there. We brought in Shaq, Vince Carter, King Mo, Rampage Jackson, Tito Ortiz. I mean, we kept doing like cool different stuff all the time, and it was we were really on a good movement. And then people got fired, they hired different people, and it kind of lost its swagger as it started to have.
Yeah, I mean, talent was not a reason for the ending of TNA Impact.
Oh no,
it was not. You guys, the talent was there. Obviously, I mean, look, when you see Samoa Joe and AJ Styles make the leap to WWE, and people just lose their minds because it's like, wait, it didn't happen then. Why would it happen now?
Yeah, and he's such a good person, and like he was one of those people that I always enjoyed getting in the ring with, and he was one of my favorite people in the world. Good dude.
Yeah, and he definitely he's fun to watch right now too.
Chris Sabin.
Huh?
Chris Sabin was there.
Yeah.
It was very good.
Yeah, it was, like I said, it was a really stacked roster, that was over there on TNA. And again, the aces and eights, because that's the other thing. I know a lot of people when they talk about TNA, Yeah, but they just took all the old guys from WWE and then they did all this and they tried to do what Nitro did or whatever they say. But like, and yeah, some of the stuff didn't work. Flair, the Hogan, the Foley stuff. Some of it was like, but like
the Hogan stuff worked as him as a general manager.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, because like when Bully Ray was going to marry Brooke Hogan,
we broke up the party,
right?
The wedding, and that was the big.
And that's what made you guys so awesome because it was like, wait, who are these guys coming out of the crowd and just running roughshod on everybody? But I mean, yeah, it was. Oh yeah, there was, like I said, there was a lot of really good talent that you got to work with over there.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. And two, again, we go back to when we were out of that studio, it was the best thing we could have possibly did for TNA. When we finally left the Impact Zone, we were all just like, well, I know it kind of sucked because we all, like, some of the guys lived in Tampa and Orlando, so I lived in Orlando, so my travels was like 15, 20 minutes to work. It was nothing. Now you got to get on an airplane, get a hotel, get a rent-a-car, get all that stuff. So it's like, yes, it comes to a point where it made it easy to go to work, but yet it wasn't fun to go to work because you're stuck in the same setting and you had almost kind of the same canvas, and it was hard always to repaint over it.
Yeah.
Compared to like having a new canvas, new crowd, new people, and it just made it just seem more fresh and made it seem just, a new place, a new city, a new town. It made it just you just didn't feel like, oh, okay, it's another Thursday, time to drive the Impact, sit in trailers, bullshit all day until finally I get my 10 or 8 minutes of TV time, and then of course we did a lot of promos, but mainly you're just sitting down waiting for your turn, just sitting there waiting. But luckily, the thing is, like, the cool thing is we were doing so many vignettes, we're constantly busy. It's when you weren't busy is when it really made it like a hell, is when you just sat in your trailer all day, and like we would do like funny things. Like our trailer, one of the Impact trailers, we would steal all the people would send in like their promo pictures and their demo tapes and stuff, and like the really like bad wrestlers or like the really bad, just like you would be like, really, you sent this in? We would post it on like the wall.
Oh geez,
there was a wall of just like so many wrestlers, and it sucks when you kind of run into them and you're like, oh shit, you're on the Impact wall. You're like, oh.
Did you do that to any that you ran into down the line and were like, ooh?
Oh man, if some people leave some comments, I can tell you a famous person that sent in the picture that made it on the wall, and now he's in WWE.
Yeah, you guys get
I guarantee you have no clue who it is. I will put money on it. People can leave a comment and try to see and guess who this person is, and maybe I'll spill the beans and say who was on the TNA Wall of Shame.
The Wall of Shame. I love it. Yeah. So get at us on Twitter at Brisco and Big Ace. We're also on Instagram, Facebook. Subscribe to the YouTubes, like it, all that stuff. Also audio versions wherever audio podcasts can be downloaded, as well as the VOC Radio Nation Network. Yeah. Please do this so I can find out as well, because I have no clue.
I know you're gonna be. I know as soon as we hang up, you're gonna be like, Wes, you gotta tell me. So, guys, should I tell them or not? I should probably just wait and not.
No, I want to know
until
you
guys respond.
It'd be like, who is it? Who is it?
I know it's the funniest thing, because you would like walk into one of the trailers and they would be like, it probably was like 50. And it's like all different 8x10s of people posing, and just like, it's some of the funniest things. And you're like, these people really like thought they like.
It was in a trailer though.
Yeah, because the way the TNA locker rooms were set up, we had our own trailer, the Aces and Eights at first, and then after a while we were like, this kind of sucks. We want to be with the rest of the boys, so there'd be like 4 different trailers, and it was kind of like who you hung out with, kind of like hung out in the same trailer. And like I always hang out with like Samoa Joe, RVD, Austin Aries, Christopher Daniels, Kazarian, of course, all the Aces and Eight guys. We kind of all just kind of stay together, and like we had our own trailer. We just kind of just Eric Young. He was another one that always good to have in the locker room. But we kind of stayed together, and then Abyss, Bully Ray, and all those other guys had like separate trailers that they would all go into. But yeah, it was the way it was set up was like 3 trailers right beside each other. And then we had a separate one in the corner, and then they had a big office, and Hogan and Bully and a couple of the other guys had like private places in there. Like Sting had his own room, but we never went in there. We were never allowed in there.
Nice. That's hilarious. What was
I
it?
think I got in there one time actually.
Did you in Stings?
Yeah, or Hogan's, because we had to do a vignette in there.
Oh,
so
okay.
I had to like break his office. So, but it was like really nice. I was like, ooh.
Now, before you were in, I mean, you knew Hogan, right? Like you had met Hulk Hogan beforehand, like before you ever worked with him in TNA. I'm assuming from his run in WWF and your dad.
My dad's the first person that taught him how to wrestle. My dad gave him his first $100 bill and his first pair of wrestling boots, and that's for real. He'll admit that anywhere that my dad and my uncle gave him his first pair of wrestling boots and his first $100 bill.
That's pretty crazy. So what was it like when you got to work with him then?
It came kind of back all like it. The coolest moment, to be honest with you, like, yeah, it was cool to get to like work them, and we all were like, oh, every time we were there, we're like, we're gonna take a punch from him, or like, I'm gonna like, we'd fight over like who's gonna take a bump from Hogan. Like, of course, everyone's like, no, we're gonna like me, and then eventually we're all bumping just because we just want to take a hit from Hogan, just to say, you've been hit by him. And the funniest time is like we're out there and we're all arguing, and then he bumps us, and then like we're just like sitting back and we're like, man, that was really cool. And then he comes back to our dressing room and like comes and sits down and like crack opens up a beer and like just sits there and just like hangs out with us.
Nice.
And I was just like my whole experience of him is like always kind of like, I've been a younger kid. It's always been like like, it's never been like sat there, crack open the beer, hey, how your boys doing, like, and shoot the shit.
Right.
When me and Luke Gallows looked at each other, we're like, dude, this is like the coolest moment ever, because it's not like we're not like, he's not there because we're other wrestlers. He's there just because he wants to hang out with us. He was like, man, that was cool, and like sat down, had a beer, and just kind of just like shoot the shit with us. And we were like, wow, like it just seemed really cool. It was just different. It was a different experience of meeting him and then like working with him, and then finally getting to the point where he was cool with all of us, where he just came in and shot the shit with us and was just like laughing and joking and telling us old stories. And you're just like, wow, this is pretty cool. Like him, like knowing him as more of like a friend than like as, wow, there's, Hogan.
Right. Yeah, because he's a polarizing figure in the world of wrestling. He really is. So that's cool, man. Well, I don't think we should go any longer. I think that's a perfect way to end this episode. But I mean, what do you got going on down the line? We didn't even talk about it, but he retained the Atomic Championship Wrestling title at their show just recently. So what's on the line now? What do you got coming up?
I have USA Pro Wrestling, and then another Atomic Revolution Wrestling, where it's Atomic versus ECW. So we're all wrestling old ECW guys. So that should be a fun.
You know who you have? No,
I don't actually.
That'll be interesting. All right.
Yeah, I hope it's not Sandman.
Yeah. I don't blame you on that one. Yeah. So good, awesome, guys. Check those out. It's at Wes Brisco on Twitter, right? Basically everything, right?
Yeah. Instagram, Wes Brisco 19, all that good stuff. Make sure you always give back to people. Don't bully people. Always give back. That's what life's all about.
Definitely. Plus, also check it out because there's some really cool, like, in case you don't know, Wes is into like surfing, fishing, all this stuff. very cool photos and videos that he throws up from all his time out there doing that kind of stuff and his shows. So check that out. Check us out on Twitter at Brisco and Big Ace. We have an Instagram, Brisco and Big Ace, and a Facebook page, YouTube. Of course, subscribe, comment, share us with everybody. And again, audio versions available wherever audio podcast downloaded, as well as the VOC Radio Nation Network. Again, thank you to them for still hosting us as well. And then, yeah, man, I got nothing coming up. I do Tuesday night live YouTube Masked Comedian Xcast, me and the Masked Comedian, another friend of mine, talk wrestling. We get a bit more technical than me and Wes like to get on this show. So if you're a hardcore fan marking it up, join us on that one as well. Otherwise, there's some cool stuff coming up. We are getting way closer and closer to my next Jericho cruise, which hopefully I'll have a lot of nice content coming back from them. From that trip, that will be on the Brisco and Big Ace YouTube channel. So make sure you check that out. Maybe you can reach out to some of your friends that are going to be on that boat. And maybe we can get like a quick little thing for the YouTubes as well with some of Wes's homies that are going to be on that boat, because it's going to be crazy.
So is it all just AEW guys now?
Yes. So Hagar just got announced last week. Yeah, like SCU, so CD, Kazarian, Scorpio Sky, like Jungle Express, MJF, Cody, Young Bucks, all of them. Yeah, who knows? And then obviously there's all that big chatter and talk of your other friend there who knows if he'll end up on that boat if he finds himself a new contract with a new company.
Yeah, I know. Last time I talked to him, he was in dealing with his contract stuff, and I know he hired like a manager too, because I know he was telling me he had a couple other companies talking to him.
He's a hot commodity. That's right now, but literally probably the biggest free agent right now in pro wrestling. But
I'm one of the hardest workers. Like the stuff he does with his clothing line, and in case you guys don't know, we're talking about Marty Scroll, good friend of mine. But yeah, he's killing it right now.
Yeah, and his YouTube channel and his vlogs are really entertaining as well. So check those out. But yeah, he hosted karaoke on the boat last year, and it was the best karaoke the staff on the boat said that they've ever seen. Like, it was that much fun. Plus,
them Brits and Japanese people love karaoke, man.
Yeah, man.
I don't know what it is. I just don't. I don't get it, man. It ain't for me.
I like being there and watching it, but like they all dude, I was talking to Sammy Callahan at that night of karaoke, like mid conversation, he just ran away from me because he went to go sing a song. Like, everybody was into it. They were having a good time.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say I haven't done it, but
I enjoy being there for the party. Your friend Brian Cage was going to go up and sing too. I was looking forward to that, just because that's a giant man up there singing, but he didn't do it. His wifey stayed in the room with the baby, and she was supposed to sing with him, so he didn't do it. But anyways, yeah. So my hope is that he signs with AEW, so he's back on the boat, because that was a really fun party that night. Otherwise, though, yeah, man, we're gonna bring you stuff on that. WrestleMania season's getting closer and closer as well. Tampa, Florida, we're gonna hopefully try to do some stuff down there, because you're going to probably be around there, I'm assuming, that week.
Yeah, we'll see.
If he is, that means I will probably make the effort to fly out for that weekend and do some stuff for the show. So hopefully we can do that. Yeah, but otherwise we're gonna head on out and bring you another episode hopefully next week.
Yep.
We kind of explained it to you guys before, but when we can do it, we do it, because then it's fun that way. We're not putting pressure on ourselves, and hopefully you guys enjoy it too. But yeah, make sure you share with everybody.
Peace.
Yeah, we'll see you guys later.